Yep, we're good. All right. It always sucks when you got to start off the stream first and you're not. I'm so paranoid after so many times of talking on mute and stuff like that. So I just want to make sure we're good to go. But welcome. Happy Monday. We are live at the Alpha Esports and Technology Center. We are getting ready to start day 5 of the Appsec Rabbit Hole. As promised, we are going to cover today. We're going to cover how to set up a virtual machine and get started. So we're going to start. We're going to today's video. We're going to focus on getting everything going, building out that initial virtual machine. We're going to use VirtualBox. We may even go back and do VMware and yeah, get you set up. And then maybe if we have some time, we'll jump into a little bit of over the wire. So everybody who is here, I appreciate y'all. Again, we are live. For those who don't know, Alpha Esports and Technology or Alpha Cybersecurity, we focus on gaming and gaming, tech, STEM, and cybersecurity education. The Appsec Rabbit Hole is a mission of mine, a goal of mine that I wanted to start sometime last year, but just because life be life, and we didn't get a chance to really do it. But it's something that I promised people, promised my followers. So I want to get that out there and get people at least brought up to speed on the basics of cybersecurity, or at least web application or application security. So we curated a list of different trainings that you can find for free or cheap using platforms like TryHackMe, OverTheWire, using virtual machines. We're going to probably do some stuff with VulnHub and then probably move into Hack the Box. Let's just see how deep we go down the rabbit hole, right? So thank everybody for tuning in and joining today. Let me know where you're watching. Let me know how your week is going. Again, it's Monday. Start of a new week with new goals and essentially a fresh start, right? Every week, every Monday should be a fresh start to try to get some stuff done. We're no different. We deal with a lot of things, but like I said, we're taking the opportunities that we have and going to get things pushing. So before we get started again, I just want to shout out all of the viewers on all of our platforms. So we are streaming on so many different platforms. We're streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming live on Twitch, and we're also streaming live on LinkedIn, as well as Facebook. So shout out to everybody who's watching there. Like I said, just let me know where you're watching from. If you have any questions in regards to application security, I'm just looking to see if somebody's coming in here. If you have any questions about application security, cybersecurity, just in general, just let's chop it up. This isn't meant to be, super, technical and full of jargon. It's supposed to be, something that laid back that you can follow along and enjoy, as well as get some good some knowledge out of it. All right, so just to give a quick recap of where we left off, I'm logging into my TryHackMe stuff right now. So I'm going to share my screen. So where we left off on our journey, we did the Linux fundamentals. So we did part 1, part 2, and part 3 last week. We also covered the OSI model earlier in the week. And the goal is to, let's see if we can, like they changed up a little bit here, so it's kind of messing with me. But the goal is we're going to get through the pre-security path, and then we covered a little bit of the cybersecurity foundations. And then from there, we're going to, honestly, we'll probably touch each one of these different paths, but we're definitely going to focus mainly on the penetration tester path, especially when we get to the web fundamentals and then the web application pen testing. But since we are covering application security, we do want to look at some things here in the security engineer path, especially with the DevSecOps and the security engineer path. And then we also want to look at some stuff in the SOC too, because I think as we move into application security, we're definitely going to focus on purple teaming, which is red and blue team. So when you think about red teaming, you're thinking about more of your offensive capability, so your penetration testing and stuff like that. And then when you think about your blue teaming, you're thinking about your SOCs, your DFIRs, digital forensics, incident response. And then there's also, GRC, which isn't quite red or blue, but they definitely play an important role as well. And then when you get into application security, red and blue have to work a lot closer together than they have traditionally. And that's where you get into purple teaming and stuff like that. So again, DevSecOps plays an important role. Security engineering plays an important role when talking about application security. And if you're wondering why application security, well, for one, that's just kind of been my niche lately. I find of all things security focus, I like application security from the web apps, mobile apps, cloud. Now with AI, APIs, there's so many things that's encompassed in application security. And honestly, I feel like that's going to be the space that's going to be really important now and in the future. All roles will be important, but if you're looking from an offensive role or a technical standpoint, I think application security is definitely a space that you should definitely hone in on if you are inclined to go that route. You have some folks who really want to do GRC, and I'm with that as well. And then you have some folks who really want to focus on, building out SOCs and programs around there as well. So again, I'm not choosing one or the other. I'm biased just because I've spent the majority of my cybersecurity career in applications or in offensive security, and in the last few years in application security. So with that being said, like I said, we covered a lot in the pre-security path. So we did the introduction. Actually, we didn't really. We just kind of glanced over it. But we covered all of the networking fundamentals. And then we actually skipped how the web works and then jumped into Linux fundamentals. And then from there, we jumped into Windows fundamentals. So because we did that, and that was an accident on my part, but because we did that, I wanted to get into some of the hands-on stuff with Linux. So we're going to build out our Linux machines. So we're going to build an Ubuntu Linux machine, and then we're going to build a Kali Linux virtual machine as well. And we're going to get that set up, and you can kind of see the similarities because they're both Debian based. If you remember in Linux fundamentals, we talked about the different flavors of Linux. So they're both Debian based. So you'll see that they have some similarities in how to set them up, how to update them and get them ready to go. And then like I said, we'll do some over the wire Bandit walkthroughs. Just to kind of, again, refresh our memories on the Linux command line and learn how to navigate Linux systems. And then after that, after we get through those, we'll come back to Windows fundamentals, and then we'll cover Windows. And then after we cover Windows, then we'll go back to how the web works, just to make sure that we're covering all bases. I just want to double check something. Not sure what that has to do with me, but sure. Okay, so does anybody have any questions for me before we go ahead and get started? And let me apologize in advance. I am a little under the weather, if you can't tell. Little migraine, little migraine, throw a little itchy or whatever. But again, we persevere and we endure and we continue. The mission is the mission. All right. So, like I said, so we're going to come back to how the web works after we finish Windows fundamentals, which comes after what we're doing today. So like I said, today we're going to start with building out our virtual environment. Now, when building out your virtual environment, you want to make sure that your PC has good enough, has a decent amount of. Let me close this out. So when dealing with building your virtual environment, you want to make sure that first and foremost, your PC is capable of running a virtual environment. So you want to make sure that they have that it has capabilities to run virtualization already ready to go. You want to make sure that you have a decent amount of RAM. I mean, most PCs usually come with about 12, 16, 24, even 32 gigs of RAM these days. That should be more than enough. I would probably say somewhere, just to be on the safe side, somewhere 16 gigs and up would definitely be more than enough RAM to go to run a couple VMs. Now, if you're planning on running a whole bunch of VMs, you might want to up that a little bit. And also you want to make sure you have enough hard drive space to be able to install these operating systems and handle all the updates and whatever you're going to install on them. So for us, we have a second hard drive that's installed on this PC. That holds most of the games and applications that are on this PC per se. But you want to make sure you have. I mean, honestly, I probably say like if you have an extra hard drive or like that's like a terabyte or so, that should also be more than enough. So let me see. So let me just see get the workstation player. That's the free version, right? Available for free or pro? Really? Since when? Workstation. All right. So when dealing with virtual machines, there's really more than two, but there's really three main ones that you'll deal with. But there's really going to be two that you're going to be talking about. So first, if for our Windows users, they do have Hyper-V that you can download your VMs on. I don't want to say no one uses Hyper-V outside of like Windows shops, but Hyper-V is fine if you want to use Hyper-V. We won't be using Hyper-V, but I'll just put the link in there on how to install Hyper-V if you want to. Oops. Again, I don't want to make anybody feel left out. So we put, again, it's all about your preference. Today, we're going to be doing VirtualBox. I know I'm probably one of the few that's like, hey, I use VirtualBox over VMware. I don't know. I just prefer it. I don't know. For me, like I said, I know that we'll probably end up doing both, and we probably will later on at some point end up installing VMware just because a couple virtual machines that I would probably want in my environment have run on VMware versus VirtualBox. And I mean, there's a way to convert it, but we don't want to go through that whole process. Maybe I'll make a video on how to do that. I just want to see though. I'm reading article on installing VMware, and it says you can do the pro version for free, but I'm not sure if that's all the way true. But like I said, so you do have Hyper-V, but then but the two main players in the game are going to be VMware from VMware, and I think that's the workstation player, and then you have VirtualBox from Oracle. So I'm going to put the link in here for that as well. And then for VMware, I'm looking for the link for VMware. Give me 1 second here. But these, like I said, these are the ones that you'll most likely work with. Really? Okay. So, all right. While I'm working on that, because it doesn't seem like it's available like that. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and start with VirtualBox. So like I said, I don't want to hold anybody up. So if you want to download, if you want to follow along, you can go with Oracle VirtualBox right here, which is the link that I put here, and we'll just put it here. Oracle VirtualBox is or virtualbox.org, and to go ahead and download that, we'll just share the screen real quick. Obviously, you can see here there's it says powerful open source virtualization. You want to go ahead and click download, and it'll download the binaries. And then you also want to make sure that you may have to download this extension pack as well. And the extension pack allows you. It basically adds it's like patches for your VirtualBox setup. So depending on what operating system you're using, you would just click that. So again, we have a Windows host, so we would click that. We've already went ahead and did that, but I'm going to go ahead and download the extension pack. Okay, and then like I said, we've already downloaded VirtualBox. But what the other thing you want to do from there is you want to download. So we'll share here. You also want to go to Ubuntu. So you go to ubuntu.com and you go to the download section. So let's just go back to ubuntu.com. So you can see, and I'll put that in the chat as well. And then you would just type it, you would go here. So you go to Ubuntu, download Ubuntu, and then download Ubuntu desktop. And you would just click that, and then it'll bring you to this screen here. So I'm going to put that in the chat as well if you want to download Ubuntu. And then you would just click download here, and then type in your information. How do you plan on it? But as you can see, it's already started to download. We're going to go ahead and cancel that since we've already downloaded it. And what it does is it downloads it as an ISO file. And an ISO file, think of an ISO file like for those who used to install discs, it had to use like CDs or DVDs to install operating system software. That we're going to do that in our VirtualBox setup. And then lastly, you want to go to kali.org. So we'll just start here from the top for our Kali Linux, and then you want to hit downloads, and then you want to click virtual machines. So we'll go ahead and copy that as well and put that in the chat. And then again, you want to pick whatever. So remember, we were talking about there's a bunch of different ones you can go with. So you have Hyper-V if you want to do Hyper-V, VMware if you want to do VMware, or VirtualBox. Like I said, we'll click VirtualBox. It's 3.2 gigs for the file, and I believe it's a zip file. So we'll go ahead. Like I said, we've already gone ahead and done that. So we don't need to run the install because we've already installed it. So once we do that, let me just move some things over here. Don't want y'all to see everything. So all right. So if you look over here now, you'll see we have our Kali Linux, and it's in a zip folder. And then we have our extension pack, we have our Ubuntu, ISO, and then we have our VirtualBox setup. So, and then this is just something else. So if you don't have 7-zip installed already, or some type of software that will allow you to unzip your unzip zip files, you would go ahead and download 7-zip. I'll put that in the chat as well, just so you have everything that you need. So you can go to 7zip.org. Come back. I'll put it here, 7zip.org. Let's stop sharing this window real quick, and then I'll just show you what 7zip looks like. So you can share here, and then it's just literally just clicking this download if you're a Windows user, or if you have a different Windows platform like ARM64 or a 32-bit. But if you have Windows, a regular Windows machine, you could just hit download here. Like I said, we already have it installed, so we don't have to worry about that. So now, since we have all of that installed, let's just move back over to our setup over here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to right click, and we're going to extract our Kali Linux machine. Now, while that's going on, we're just going to minimize this, and then we're going to go ahead and double click our VirtualBox setup. And it's going to ask for, it's going to go through the process of wanting to set that up. I don't know if you can see it. Because we're sharing the window and not everything here. Cheap viewers on streamboo.com. No, thank you, bot. All right, so let's go ahead. Oh, another install's already running. Okay, come on. All right, so stop sharing that, and then we will go to the entire screen here. All right. Close this. So now when we want to install, we're going to click next. And then it's going to say copying file for, okay, we're going to go ahead and accept the terms. You want to make sure you read the terms. Always want to make sure you read the terms so that you're not getting blindsided by anything. Well, like I said, we've went ahead and have read the licensing agreement. So we accept, we just hit next. And then again, you can kind of look through here. Most part, it's fine. You can click next again. It's going to give you a warning about the networking interfaces. It's going to tell you that it's going to reset network connections and temporarily disconnect from the network. You can go ahead and click yes. And then it's also going to tell you, it looks like this one has missing dependencies for Python. So it'll say installing Oracle VirtualBox Python bindings requires Python core package. When continuing installation, VirtualBox Python bindings now. These need to be set up manually later. Proceed with installation now. So you can choose yes or no. I'm just going to go ahead and click yes. And then again, if you want to register file associations or have everything in a quick launch, create a shortcut on your desktop, go ahead, and then we'll go ahead and click install. Like I said, it shouldn't take too long to install, so we're just waiting. What's going on, Ty? Happy Monday. Hope your Monday is going well. Hope your week is starting off okay. Like I said, I got a little headache, but you know. Zip is done. The zip is done. Saw a quick dip in the connection because of that network interface. But while we're working on that, you'll see that the 3.2 gigabyte the 3.2 gigabyte file for Kali Linux has now been has now ballooned to a almost 14 gig file. It looks like while building out the VM, it doesn't like my camera setup right now. So let me know if y'all can still hear me. I know, like I said, we're probably running into some technical issues right now because of the install. Whew. Hey man, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope he's doing better. If you, like I said, let me know if you can hear me, because again, everything is acting a little funky right now. All right, so for those who are still following, like I said, it says Oracle's installation is complete, so we'll go ahead and hit finish. And now, like I said, everything else should stop acting weird because the install is done. So now, like I said, we have our Kali Linux VirtualBox set up. So you see we have two files here, and we're gonna use this virtual disk image. And then we also have our extension pack, and then we have our Ubuntu desktop ISO file. So here, like I said, just ignore these right now because these are machines from my other class. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to install that extension pack. So we're going to go ahead and just double click the extension pack. And I was going to say you're about to install a VirtualBox extension pack. He's shaking up. Hey, yeah, if that's, hopefully that was like, hopefully he's not hurt too bad. Usually the day after, once the adrenaline dies down, they start to feel a little bit more. Like I said, I hope he's okay. And, I said, I can't even say car accident. I can't even say it's like, yeah, he'll be all right. Cause like I said, these days, these car accidents, man, they be rough. Like there was a car. I think I showed y'all the other day. There was a car accident in front of my house that was like that was really scary. And like I said, it made me think of my own child, as well as some things that traumatic experience I had when I was younger. So like I said, I just hope everything is good. I use Vagrant to install everything. Yeah, fair enough. Like I said, I use Vagrant as well, but like I said, I just figured since this is kind of like a zero to hero type thing, I'm just gonna start with the basics. All right, so we'll go ahead and install. But I appreciate the comment. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, I'm glad you're here. Hope your week started off good, and and your Monday was a good one. All right, so we ran everything. Everything looks good. I'm actually running two things of VirtualBox. So like I said, so we have two setup. We have this set up here for like a basic pen test machine. We also cloned it for like I said, for something else that I'm working on. And then I spelled it wrong, but it's supposed to be another Ubuntu box. So so let's go ahead and start with the more difficult install first, which is going to be the Ubuntu setup. So we're going to start that by hitting add. How do we want to do this? We're going to hit new, actually. And then the folder, we want it to be a different folder. So you can put it in whatever folder you want. For me, I already have a VMs folder in my D drive. I'm going to call this Ubuntu Basic. And then the ISO image is going to be the file that we downloaded a second ago. So that's our ISO file. And then it says, do we want to skip unintended install? Now, if you want to do an unintended install, then you can have it'll give you a username and password of VBox user and the username or a password of change me and then repeat the password of change me, which is exactly what we're going to do. Have I ever set up a free IPA server? I have not, actually. Let me see. Yeah, no, I have never set up a free IPA server. All right, where are we now? Okay, so we'll go ahead and. So they lost this map in the same fashion. Like, do we want to? And then here is where you want to set up your RAM and PC processors. I usually go, like I said, for Ubuntu. Like I said, because I'm not really doing nothing crazy with it, I usually do 4 gigs of RAM, and I'll just run 2 processors just for the sake of this. And then for the hard drive or the virtual hard disk, you can have it set up here. I'll usually do 25 gigs just to be on the safe side. I won't pre-allocate or split them. There is no, I don't want to use an existing file. Now let's just come back here to here. I just want to double check. Optic winning that sets them in an excellent position for this round. 4-0 already. Have I ever used proxy chains in a campaign? That's true. Like recognize them years ago. Years ago, I used proxy chains. I've done other things that were similar, but not. Like I said, yeah, I haven't used proxy chains in a while. All right, so like I said, we'll do the unintended install. Everything looks good there. Okay. All right. No, I don't want to use it. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. That's beautiful. Is it the thumbnail, bro? It's the Call of Duty thumbnail, right? I bet you guys. Oh, okay. So if I want to skip, but I don't want to skip. I mean, look, this is Optic's toughest competition on paper yet. So if they come out and they dominate the scrim, we need to see SR. We need to see SSG, right? Where does Optic rank in this point? Because they're coming out clean in every other matchup. They need. So if I don't want to skip, then maybe I have to do that. It's working. I did love the old Optic, but I think that this, for storylines, for excitement in general. All right. Okay. So all that's there. It's gonna, yeah. So okay, fine. Username and password. We'll just call it. And then we'll do. Versus like Optic trying to break at a second place for time number 7. Time number 8. Will they get a second in the same matchup? Create our own for that. And then we'll skip. They got snipe side control for this first hill, so they're Okay, and now we should just be able to hit finish. Finish. Name and operating system. Where's the error now? What did I do? ISO image. Ubuntu basic. Does it have to? Yeah, it can't be a space. Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, let's try that. Finish. All right, so that's done. And now all we have to do to run the install. And I think, like I said, it's going to skip the unattended install. But you'll go ahead and click start, and then you're going to wait for it to start up. We'll maximize the screen so you can see. And then when you try to click into here, it's going to say you click the mouse inside the virtual machine. This will cause whatever. If you want to, for the host key combo to capture the stuff, you just click into it, and then to escape it, you just have to hit the right control button. Okay, so if I need to go back to the main screen, I just hit right control, and I have control over this screen again. But when I click in here, it's going to say, "Yep," it's going to give you that message, and now we'll just go ahead and try or install. All right, so now we're going to go through the install process. Like I said, since we skipped unattended, it's going to skip a bunch of parts, so the install shouldn't be that long because we already gave it a username and password. And as you can see, like I said, I changed it from the username and password that it gave me to a different one. Not that I don't trust you guys, but or that I think you'll be able to get into my VM, but you know.
I know we should. I'm not complaining, bro. Come stay a while. Hang out with me. When you guys watch this with me, it inspires me. It's like, people actually.
So because we're skipping the unattended install, like I said, a lot of stuff should just kind of. It should skip through a lot of stuff. I think it probably just ask us for like the time zone and some other stuff. But it should, like I said, it shouldn't be as long as a process, which is another reason why I said today we're just going to focus on building the VMs and then just making sure we can see what we need to see. Since we're not building a lab per se just yet, we won't have to worry about building out the whole NAT environment to make sure that the VMs can communicate with each other. We'll do that once we start building out that lab. Use wired connection, sure. And then we'll go ahead and install Ubuntu. And then it says, do we want to have the interaction? And it says, this is for users who want to be guided step by step, or for advanced users who have the auto install YAML file. We're going to go ahead and go through the interactive, and then we're going to go with the default selection. Because again, if you're doing this for the first time, you should know all the steps. Ubuntu ships with no proprietary software by default. Installing additional software may improve your computer's performance. So if you want to install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi, you can go ahead and do that. And then also if you want to download stuff to support media formats like MP3, MP4, or movie files, this is stuff, like I said, if you plan on using it for personal uses, like a personal desktop, then I would say go ahead and download that, especially if you're going to use it for any type of gaming. You're definitely going to want to use the graphics, get the graphics and Wi-Fi hardware. Because we're just using it for this, we're going to go ahead and skip that. I normally would go ahead and install at least the NVIDIA stuff for other reasons, but and then it says, do you want to erase disk and install Ubuntu? You would go ahead and just click yes. Then it's going to ask for your name. So we'll just call it Alpha, and then it's called VirtualBox. Username is Alpha. Okay. Yes, we know. Okay. Yep. Require my password at login. Sure. And it's going to ask for, like I said, our location. New York City is close enough. And then you see here it's going to review the choices, and then you just hit install. So now, right now, it's just going to kind of go through copying the files and running the installation. So while we're doing that, does anybody have any questions or any comments that they want to go into so far? And when you and then to vague not vagrant to excuse me, to Fair and Perry's point, once you kind of get used to setting all this stuff up, you can use things like Vagrant and other software to kind of automate a lot of the process and install it. So, like, if we ever get to the point where we're going to do like Metasploitable builds or any like type of Active Directory hacking labs, we're definitely going to use Vagrant to install a lot of that stuff and go through the process, so we're not spending a lot of time building that out. But like I said, again, shout out to everybody who is watching right now on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and give us a like, follow, subscribe. Leave a comment in the section. Let me know what your goals are, what you're working on.
They stream with comms, right? They don't hide anything. Let's go see it. Updates to the GAs, they're probably still GA.
I am starving.
The assault rifle is likely still GA. The disruptor might not be.
Like, I'm trying to get for the AD labs. Yeah, I'll probably use Game of Active Directory just because I for one I think it's probably one of the best AD labs that are out there, and two, I'm also a Game of Thrones fan, so that doesn't hurt either. But yeah, if we do the 80, once we get to the 80 labs, but that's going to be, I'm not going to lie, the 80 labs, that's probably going to come further on down the line, because again, I totally expect this Appsec Rabbit Hole to be just that, a rabbit hole full of different things. I'm always looking at stuff in the morning, especially with the media job that I have right now. I'm always doing a whole lot of research and seeing a lot of cool stuff that's out there that I'm like, oh man, we got to touch on that. And cover that. What is this VM going to be for? Canby, thank you for tuning in and thank you for your question. So what we're doing right now, Canby, is this is called the Appsec Rabbit Hole. So we're just kind of going through the basics of Linux. So we're going through the process of building out a Linux VM, and from there we're going to use this to try out a couple basic Linux challenges, starting from I'm drawing a blank. OverTheWire Bandit, so to understand how to navigate the Linux operating system or Linux file system, and then we're also going to use our Kali Linux machine to do some pen testing, and then from there we're going to go into web app pen testing. So obviously we're going to use things like Burp Suite and the other tools, and then we're going to get more into the application space. So as we're testing like APIs, we'll probably go through using some stuff like Postman as well with proxy through Burp Suite. So we're going to have a whole bunch of different pen testing. Yeah, I think OverTheWire is a great resource to kind of give you that hands-on in your face experience of learning how to deal with Linux, and it's free. I think what I'll probably do as well is, if you haven't seen my previous videos on on the game Haiku. We might even touch on that a little bit as well, just because I run a gaming and technology center, and we do a lot of gamified learning. And Haiku is a great story driven game that teaches you the basics of Linux and penetration testing as well. So I think we'll probably do that as well. I might plug that in as well. So we'll go do Over the Wire, and then I think we'll probably do some stuff with Haiku just to kind of give them, just to kind of shed some light on them. And just to be clear, like I said, I mean, I used to have an affiliate with them. I don't think I'm a partner with them anymore, but I just think that what they did is awesome, especially for the young kids who are interested and don't really have, the attention span to read through a lot of books and build a lot of labs. Hey, appreciate it, Canby. I hope you'll follow and subscribe as well. So, so while we're waiting, like I said, I don't want to have y'all just keep looking at this screen. So let's see what else can we take a look at. So what we're gonna do after, and you know what, I like to make lists of stuff because my brain isn't what it used to be. For after the course of the last couple of years and brain fog and all that other crap. So what we're going to do from after we get our Ubuntu box set up, we're going to update, and so we're gonna install and update / upgrade the VM. We're going to we're also going to add new SSH keys. I know it's a VM, and I know some people feel that it's not necessary anymore, but it's still good practice to have if you're downloading a VM, because usually when you download a VM, you're downloading an image, and so to me, at least, everything is the same from the image. So that means everybody would have those keys. And yes, the odds of someone using their keys to attack you, whatever, but rather safe than sorry. I do pen testing as a hobby, but I'm interested in malware analysis. I built a malware analysis distribution for Linux called an alternative to Remnix called Malbian. Cammy, that's interesting. I'm not even gonna lie, man. Do you have documentation, or you have like content on that? I would definitely love to link that out and stuff, because I think malware analysis, reverse engineering, I think that's also a cool thing to get into. For me, it kind of falls into that digital forensics realm as well. And like, for those who don't know, like, I do pen testing, but I really wanted to get into forensics, but I was turned away when I first got into it, because I was told in the Northeast you could only do digital forensics if you worked for like the feds or some type of law enforcement. And they didn't have like shops that really did that outside of being in law enforcement. But I actually got into pen testing because I felt like that would make me a better forensics DFIR professional. And then honestly, I just kind of stuck with pen testing. So, but like I said, I always think pen testing, malware analysis, reverse engineering, DFIR, like I like that stuff. I could honestly go down that rabbit hole if I had the time. Now I don't have the time so much with, working full time, running a business, and being a parent and a father and husband. All right, so we're going to install and upgrade the VM. We're going to add SSH keys, and then there's a couple tools on Ubuntu that we're going to need to install. Hey, Canby, that's dope though. That's dope. It's in GitHub. Okay, yeah, definitely put a. If you have a link to the GitHub, or like I said, any documentation or any article or write-ups that you have, let me know. All right, so we're gonna add SSH keys. We're gonna install and upgrade the VM, and then we're going to install network tools. I think it's like Net Tools. I think it's Net Tools. Just so we have, so we're able to do things like ifconfig and stuff like that. And then I don't think we need anything else for Ubuntu. And then in Kali Linux, we're gonna when we install Kali Linux, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna install and update the VM. Kali doesn't allow you to just start with a root user anymore, so you'll have your regular user. So I don't think we have to worry about that. Okay. And again, if you want to follow some of the stuff that we've done previously, I mean they're old. I think they're like 5 years old, but a lot of the process has not changed. When you're installing virtual machines and updating everything, there's a lot of that. A lot of it is the same. A lot of it you're going to make sure you're going to make sure you're installing updates and upgrades. You're going to make sure that if you did have any default users or any passwords like that, you're going to want to change those passwords. And then you're going to want to make sure that, like I said, for me, like I said, I always make sure my SSH keys are swapped out. And then if you need to add any users, like if you need to add a second user or anything like that, with lower level privileges, you can do that as well, or create whatever groups. And then lastly, what I do is I create that base image and then I clone it with in VirtualBox. So again, that's what we'll go through today. We're going to update, upgrade, install SSH keys. We don't need to add any other users, but if you need to learn how to add users, we can do that, or change passwords. I'll show you how to do that. And then lastly, we'll back up. Okay, so let's see, install NetTools, and then from there we're going to change passwords, and then finally we'll back up the image. Okay. Then the other thing that we'll probably do as we're progressing through here, we will also probably create a script that can do most of this for you. Okay. All right, Camby. Yeah, I'll definitely. As a matter of fact.
Bro, that's crazy. Udem's team got smacked around by the ladder across. In shambles?
All right, so let's see.
I don't know what kind of
we gonna check it out on the spot while we're waiting for our Linux to finish up. So it's Debian-based malware analysis, reference engineering. Distributions run with custom scripts that would display a TMUX session. Okay. One information. Okay, and then you have our ISOs here. Hey man, Camby, congratulations. Honestly, like this looks dope. What tools and stuff do you have specific tools and stuff that's installed by default? Consists of desktop environment, provide a familiar user interface, runs with Windows Manager, they're both shipped.
Just that delay is enough to pull Trippy out of Subway, right? And give his spawning teammates an angle they wouldn't have had otherwise. So, like, anything you can do to just live like that. Formal pinching off the damage. Good team play. Here comes Legend.
Nah, this looks dope.
Like
I said, I think
suppressed with 2 big ones.
I think this is gonna be big because there's a lot of people who want to do malware analysis. I think that's gonna be big. All right. So it's Ghidra Cutter, Rad Rare, Floss. Okay. Oh, you got okay. So I'm actually gonna bring your comment up here. So for those who are interested, and just to give you a quick update, the Ubuntu did finish, and now I'm rebooting it. After it finished, it asks you to reboot. I should have showed that on the screen for the sake of the video, but I'll tell you when you're done, go ahead and reboot. And then when you reboot, it's gonna say, it's gonna tell you, oh, remove the medium. So what it's telling you is that ISO disk that you put in there, because remember we added the ISO into that drive, is telling you to remove it now since it's already finished using it to install the operating system. So you don't need it anymore. So now it's asking you to remove it and hit enter. So basically you're doing the virtual equivalent of popping that disk out or unplugging that USB and then hitting enter. Just by hitting enter, you're doing that.
It's good to see Lethal in the mix at all, right? We'll see how that team goes. Like I said, when you team with young guns like that, it could go really well. Or the chemistry won't be there, let's say, and it doesn't, shake up. Because there's not a lot of proof. Descendant, very talented. EXO, they don't have the crazy land accolades.
All right, so there's a couple things that we're going to do once everything installs. Like I said, we're going to update and upgrade our stuff. Let's go back and share our screen now. So we're going to go ahead and install with our super secret password or sign in. So what we're going to do is we're going to run 2 commands, right? So we're going to run app update and then also apt upgrade. Hey, what's going on, Eric? Thanks for tuning in. If your first time, please go ahead and give us a like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff, please, so we can get that algorithm jump in as we move into the spring and summer with not only our cybersecurity content, but also our esports and gaming programs. If you check out Alpha Esports and Technology, you'll see we do a lot of esports stuff. We actually just had a bunch of esports streams on Saturday. We did a Overwatch scrimmage, and then we also streamed our middle school Fortnite teams match. Forgot to add flag to only do Firefox. Oh, I was trying to upgrade Firefox, did a sudo app upgrade, and it did the entire system. Oh yeah. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna update and upgrade the stuff on our VMs, right? And then we're gonna run 2 commands. And actually, let's see if anybody remembers what command do we type in if we want to actually use, if we want to combine them together.
Since launching our glass recycling drop-off locations in 2021, Gwinnett residents have recycled more.
So when we did Linux fundamentals, we talked about the different operators and the different things you can use with Linux. And if we wanted to combine, right? So if we were to update Kali Linux right now, or not Kali Linux, Ubuntu, we'd have to do apt upgrade. Actually, we'd have to do, I'm going to go to app-y upgrade. And what the -y is basically saying, Yes, we know whatever messages or notices you're going to give us, we accept that off. We already accepted. Just don't notify us. And then same thing with update, right? Yes, can be and. Yep. So if we want to combine the two, we want to come this way. We don't have to install the updates, wait, and then install the upgrades. And then for those who are wondering the difference between app update and app upgrade, so app update will refresh the local packages with the latest version that is available from the repositories, right? So we talked about, I think it was in Fundamentals 3. They talked about the repositories and packages that you can download. So if you run app update, it'll update everything that's in those that's available in the repositories. Whereas if you run app upgrade, it'll actually download and install the newer versions that's currently installed, right? So update just kind of quickly updates it locally with the latest version. Upgrade is going to kind of make sure that it does like a full reinstall of everything, and you don't to make sure it's fully installed. So you're going to need to run update first, because update is going to update the packages in the repositories, and then running upgrade is going to install those install it. So you don't have to do it. You have to do and twice. Yeah, so you would have to do and twice. And to Ty's point, I think he meant to say sudo, but it's also an elevated command, which means you have to run it with elevated privileges. So think of like when you try to run a system on Windows, you try to run a tool on Windows, that UAC pops up that says, "Hey, only elevated users or administrators can do this. Are you okay with this, or are you an administrator?" And you select yes. That's what essentially what you're doing with sudo. You're saying, I need to run this program as an administrator. So it's going to ask you to it's going to ask you to input your password, and it's going to log that information so that if anything goes wrong, you can see, well, who authorized this? Oh, well, this sudo command was ran by this user. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do sudo app, and then like I said, we're going to say -y. And we're going to say update. And then again, we want to combine them. So we got to do and then we're going to say sudo app and the same thing, -y upgrade. Okay. And now it should ask me for my password. I'm going to give it my password. Ty, how old is that Kali build? Because if it's an old Kali build, you may just need to install a brand new version, right? So for example, the Kali build I had in here previously was from 2023, so I don't think I would have been able to do all the updates and upgrades and to make that work. Eric, do I work for someone, or am I the owner of a company? Both. So I am the owner of Alpha Cybersecurity, which is this channel you see here, and Alpha Esports and Technology, which is my gaming and technology center in Suwanee, Georgia. Where we do competitive gaming, tournaments, esports, and then we also do casual parties and stuff like that. But we also do STEM, tech, and cybersecurity classes and workshops. The goal is to use gaming and pop nerd culture as a cheat code to get kids to engage in careers in tech, STEM, gaming beyond just playing the video game, or if they want to do. If they want to be a professional esports player, we try to help them get acclimated with the ecosystem as well. And then I am also an employee because this isn't paying the bills totally just yet. So yes. But as far as the content, this is all mine. I own all of it. And then, like I said, I do have a day job. Hopefully, knock on wood, one day this will be able to, pay the bills feed the family and everything. But you know, I got to do that. It's old. Same issue with Parrot. Yeah. So I would just go ahead and just delete it and reinstall. I'm trying to get into IT and I have CompTIA Plus and Security Plus. I know a lot of people have issues with getting jobs and even certs. Do you think having a YouTube channel at home? Absolutely. So Eric, I would say from both ends, right? So having a YouTube channel or content, I think it does help because for one, it also gives you exposure. One thing I tell people who are trying to get into pen testing, I tell them all the time, and Ty will tell you, I tell them work on like hack the box machines, work on try hack me machines, work on Vuln Hub machines, and write out your process, whether it's in a blog, whether it's in a YouTube video. But the other thing you should do is write it out like you would write out a pen test report. And then what you can do with that is that's an extension of your resume. So now when you go into these interviews or you get on with these interviews, when they start asking you technical questions, you can actually give them some of your write-ups to show them your thought process as you were working through that CTF machine. Now, yes, CTF machines aren't necessarily real world, but it still helps. It still helps show your resourcefulness. So I totally think it helps. And then also it doesn't hurt to build the content. And if the content does become popular, hey, now you have something that you can monetize and call your own. You can help other people. Like that's how I got started. I got started making blogs because so many people were asking me questions. And I remember when I first got into pen testing, they always, when you get into cybersecurity, the first thing they tell you to do is to find a mentor. And it's hard finding a mentor, especially if you're looking for someone who's successful in their job, because if they're successful, that means they're busy. So I couldn't really find a mentor. And I think that actually set me back a lot in my career, that I couldn't find that mentor. So when I got to a certain point in my career where now where people started looking to me for mentorship, and I knew I didn't have the time because I was so busy, I started creating content as a way to help them. So I started getting the information of what type of what were the common questions that I was being asked, and I built content around it. And that's how my first website was launched. And then after that, I started getting questions about careers, and then that's when I started InfoSec Unplugged. So Eric, if you're looking, I don't want to. I'm not trying to plug my stuff too much, but if you look at the Alpha Cybersecurity YouTube channel, there's a lot of content there for InfoSec Unplugged, and that is my live stream podcast that I was running for about 3 years, where I interviewed different people in the industry. Hint, hint. I probably will be. It's not hint, hint, but I probably will be coming back with Alpha with InfoSec Unplugged now that Alpha Esports Technology is off the ground. But so again, now not only are you getting my advice, you're getting advice from industry professionals. That's good to hear. I've been a little discouraged and planning on doing home labs to help people maybe look over my lack of experience. Yeah, I would, like I said, Eric, I would write it up. And you know what? Don't be afraid to put yourself out there, because I know a lot of people kind of put, they're like, I don't want to put it out there, and someone makes fun of me or someone, whatever. Yes, the community has trolls just like every other community, but you'll find some people who are truly willing to help you. The cybersecurity is so small. I learned from a lot of people that made content and share their knowledge. The distribution I made was kind of a way to give back. Right. The cybersecurity community is small and big at the same time, but like I said, it does have its flaws. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that, right? You do have some people who let other things get in the way of what it's supposed to be about. So again, being the change that you want to see, like I said, I want to try to bring in the next generation and teach them about the benefits and also how to avoid some of these pitfalls that I've witnessed over my career. All right. All right, cool. So now we went ahead and we updated and upgraded everything. Luckily, because this was a new Ubuntu build, it didn't require too much time to run everything. But now we have our repository updated with the latest version. And then we also installed all the new versions of anything that's on here. So the next thing you want to do is, right, I don't know if it's on here anymore. Okay, so like if we wanted to run a tool called ifconfig to kind of, that's basically the equivalent of Windows IP config to kind of give us some information, like basic network information, like our IP address, our subnet mask, and all of that. There's a couple ways to do that, but ifconfig is the most common way. Because Ubuntu doesn't come with it, you have to install a tool called NetTools. So in order to do that, you just have to do sudo app, and again, just do -y to say, yes, we accept whatever that comes with it. And then we're going to say install NetTools. And then you'll see it's going to install there. Right. And no, so it works with Linux Mint, but Ubuntu out the box, it doesn't. It works with Linux Mint. It works with Kali Linux. It works with a bunch of other ones, but for Ubuntu fresh out the box, it doesn't work. So now, okay, so we have NetTools installed. So now when we run ifconfig, you'll see now we have our information, right? So we have our IP address, we have our subnet mask, we have all our information, okay? Again, that's just something that I do just to make sure. It's a pet peeve of mine. It's a process. And then the last thing I do, I go here. I go to I list out the Etsy SSH folder, and you'll see here that there are a bunch of SSH keys, right? So you have your ECDSA key, you have your public keys and stuff like that. My paranoid behind don't the fact that these are usually virtual machines, or these are images or copies of images of a machine that was previously built. For me, the first thing that comes to my head is that, well, if I downloaded it and have these keys, then anybody who's downloaded this VM also has these keys. And again, the odds of someone actually getting into my system, it's not going to happen. Just to be honest with you, but like I said, I'm paranoid that way. So what I tend to do is create new keys. I generate new keys. So the first thing we're going to do is, again, if you remember our Linux fundamentals, we're going to go ahead and make a directory, and we're going to call the directory old keys, and then we're going to move all of these SSH host files, or all that here, we're going to move all of that into our directory. And then we're gonna generate new keys, and then we're gonna compare the new keys versus the old keys by their MD5 hash. Do you have any tips for sending denial of service attacks? I was trying with my home network and my alpha adapter, and I can't get it to send enough packets to knock any clients offline. I would just say check whatever check whatever you're doing in your lab environment, or whatever application you're standing up in your environment. I'm not. I don't. There are certain things that I don't like to just because I would just But like I said, and why am I doing that with the keys? Basically, is removing, like I said, when you install Kali Linux or Ubuntu, or you install any Linux image or virtual image from the internet, you're downloading an image. That means somebody built that image, backed up that image, and is making that image available for everybody else to download. When that image when that image gets downloaded, it's a copy of the original image, which means everything that came with it is the same. So keys, password, keys and all that. Now, because this is an ISO file and it's a fresh, technically it's a fresh install, you don't have to worry about it. But it's just like I'm a creature of habit, and especially since I download Kali Linux images or VM images, it's just a habit. So yeah, it says I do the same. I remove or strip all the keys before I build my ISOs. Users actually have to create their own in order to use an SSH daemon. Yep. So let's see. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna sudo make directory, and we're gonna call it, like I said, we're gonna call it old keys. And like I said, we don't really care too much because once we know, oh crap. We're gonna move. So we're gonna move old keys into the Etsy SSH folder. So now if we change directory and go to Etsy SSH and then we hit ls, there's our old keys folder. So what we're doing is right now we're going to move the old files into the old keys, and then compare them. And then once we know that they're good, we're going to we're gonna delete that folder. No, in theory, yes, because of the ISO file, yes. But like I said, yes, yes. But I just, rather safe than sorry. All right, so we made that. So now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and move our stuff. So we're gonna go sudo mv ssh underscore host underscore that, and then we're gonna go into old keys. So now when we hit ls, all of that stuff should be gone. But if we ls old keys, all of our stuff is in that folder. All right. Let me just double check. I get your thought process though. Not like I said. Yeah, like I said, it's just I'm a creature of habit. So. All right. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna run a command. Let's see if I remember it off the top of my head. So sudo dpkg reconfigure open SSH. Crap. Open SSH. Oh, damn it. That's right. This is Ubuntu, not Kali Linux. This is Ubuntu, not Kali Linux. So then, Eric, yeah, I guess to that point, I guess you would probably be right. So we would actually just do this, but here we go. So we're gonna go app-y install, or how to spell Davin, install open SSH server. Oh, sorry. Sudo. See, like I said, it does not play if you don't have the. Yes, Ty. Yeah, I like I said, I usually do this every time after I install Kali. Again, it's a VM, whatever. But especially if I have like some of my like some of my actual laptops, like my Kali laptops or anything like that. Yeah, I again, better safe than sorry. All right, so now we have our own. We have the SSH server. So technically, we actually have new keys. So we didn't have to do that, but let's go ahead and go through the process anyway. So we're gonna move. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna move everything, and then we're gonna hit LS. And then, as you can see, that stuff is gone. We're gonna clear, and now we're just doing it just for the sake of the lesson. So now, like I said, we're gonna do sudo dpackage reconfigure, and then it's OpenSSH server. Okay. And then when we hit enter, it's going to generate new keys. And now when we hit LS, you'll see we have new keys. And then if we just want to compare, if we just want to verify, we'll go ahead and run. Let's clear this real quick, and then we'll just run sudo md5 sum ssh underscore host underscore star. All right, and then we'll get so now you'll see we get our hashes here, and then if I want to get the hashes from old keys, and now you'll see we get hashes, we get those hashes as well, which oh, I'm sorry. I did that wrong. That's why I was like, wait a minute. Old keys, SSH underscore host underscore. There we go. So now we can compare the two.
Yeah, I mean, that situation for Legend, like, what can he do though, right?
All right, so you can clearly see that this and this are two different keys, right? And then this public key with 365, public key ends with 87. So again, just a quick thing you can do to verify. Yeah, they both work, but what happened was Ubuntu doesn't have OpenSSH server installed by default. So you have to install OpenSSH server, which to Eric's point would then negate the whole process. But again, because I just wanted to go through it, we got it. We just did that. All right, so now we can go back to our screen, and like I said, I think we're good to go. I don't think we need to do -y. I don't think we need to update anything else. All right. So we're good here with everything. Like I said, because we have. Oh, Nmap's not on here. Okay. Well.
Bro, oh my God. All right, we need formals to be up
now. Oh, I did it backwards. Sudo app -y. Just because I wanted to see, I want to have it on there. All right, so like I said, what I talked about before was the reason why I like sometimes why I prefer Ubuntu over Kali Linux is because Kali Linux comes with over 600 machines, right? So I'm going to stop sharing this. So Kali Linux comes with over 600 600 tools, and it's good when you're, for a pen test or whatever. But most of the time, you're not you're not going to use all 600. What I like with the Ubuntu setups is I can keep it as lightweight as possible. And hold on. So what I like about Ubuntu is I can keep it as lightweight as possible and only install the tools that I need. So usually if I'm working on a web app pen test, I might use Kali Linux. If I'm working on like an API pen test, I might just use an Ubuntu machine. Reason being is I don't need all the tools that I would need for a network pen test or even a web app pen test that I would use for an API pen test. So I usually have like an Ubuntu build for API pen testing that I'll use, right? Now I could do that in Kali Linux as well, but again, I just like to have like a lightweight build that I can just kind of use on the go as needed and not have to worry about, downloading I mean, out the box, the Kali Linux is 14 gigs, and after you install all updates and all of that, it kind of gets a little bit up there. Like I said, I can do that. I can do a lot more with less with the Ubuntu build. Just my preference. To me, it's just cleaner. So we have. All right, so let's go back here real quick and go back to our VirtualBox machine. So now we have our Ubuntu basic machine that we set up. We updated it, we upgraded it, we installed the tools that we wanted to install. We have fresh SSH keys. So this is good to go as our base image, right? So what I typically do from there is I'll right click and I'll hit this option here, clone, and then you can put your information in for cloning the machine. Now, why do I clone the machines, right? I'll do a full clone, and especially usually for the first image that I create, I'll create a clone. Oh, you guys can't see the pop-up box because it's only sharing. I need to share full screen. So here, like I said, I have the clone, right? And I'll do all of that in there. And then I would just go ahead and click finish, right? And the reason why, and I'm just going to hit cancel. So you would click finish and then it would go through the cloning process. And now the reason, like I said, the reason why I clone my machines, especially after the base image, is if I'm going to use that machine for real world pen testing, if I'm using a virtual machine image for real world pen testing, at the end of every pen test, you're supposed to wipe your machine to make sure none of your stuff, none of that data that was on your previous pen test carries over to the next pen test, right? So none of the IP addressing information, none of the stuff in the nmaps, none of that stuff is supposed to carry over. So again, just to be on the safe side, because I've seen it happen where people have had notes or had other things from previous pen tests, and they thought it was a part of the pen test they were on currently, and they put it in the report, and it wound up getting them in trouble because now you have someone else's data in this pen test, and it somehow it didn't get caught by QA, no one noticed it, and now you have problems because not only do you have the previous user stuff out there, your previous client stuff out there, your current client is going to look at it like, can we trust you because you just showed us something that could have been that belonged to somebody else. So to be on the safe side, at the end of every pen test, I go back to the previous image. Yep, NDA reasons as well. so as soon as I'm done with the pen test, so what I do is when I've worked for other outfits, you do the pen test and then you keep the information on file, or you keep the information archived for whatever the contracted amount of time is, right? So it can be 3 months, it can be 6 months. So I'll have a clone or whatever of that archived file, of that archived image, and then I'll revert my image back to the base image or the image that last worked for me, right? So when do you want to clone your stuff? You typically want to clone your stuff when you first make that base image, and then when you start making major updates, right? So right now it's good, right? But let's say as I move on, I start installing Postman, Burp Suite, SQL Map, or whatever tools I need to install. I'm gonna make an image of that update, and then that will be my base image. And then from there, once I have everything set up how I want it set up, now every time I do a pen test, it's gonna go back to the image before, right? So this way, again, you're covering CYA, cover your ass. This way, you don't have to worry about breaking NDA. You're not giving out anybody's PII or sensitive information. And yes, is it an added step? Yes. But are you keeping yourself safe and keeping your company safe and making sure you don't have to, contact your insurance company or anything like that for errors and omissions or anything like that? That's why I like Ubuntu. I have a gaming laptop with dual boot Windows Ubuntu. The GPU of the gaming laptop is good for password cracking. That part too. In malware, we do snapshots or clones of the image before detonation. Yep. Same thing with digital forensics, right? You have to clone the image of the file and make sure that the hashes match before you and then you test the copy of the file, right? You don't test so in digital forensics, let's say you get a case and they clone the hard drive. You clone the hard drive because you're never doing anything on the actual on the drive itself. You're going to do all your work in the clone image to make sure that the integrity of that is good, so you don't have to worry about it in court. So, all right. So we did that in Ubuntu, right? Now let's go ahead and let's get a Kali Linux image going. So we'll come back. We'll come back over here. Now we want to do a Kali Linux machine. So for Ubuntu, we had to do like a new setup, right? Because we did the disk and all of that. For Kali Linux, we're gonna import.
I think that there's always room for more. In the end of the day, it's like.
Did I read yes, in the beginning, yes. Every book that I've read cover to cover starting out, and then I'll go back and reference.
So we'll find a way. It's always going to be. What's the phrase? All ships rise together.
So most of the pen testing books that I have, Ty, I've read cover to cover. I've done the labs. I've done the exercises. I think with the exception of maybe 2 books, like the recent. I don't think I finished Hands-On Hacking, and I also didn't finish like the advanced adversary book. So, but pretty much all the pen, so I'll say most of the pen testing, right? I'm gonna keep myself honest. So there's probably 2, maybe 3 books that I haven't finished cover to cover. But every other book that I have, and you've seen my book collection, every other book that I had, including the Web Application Hacker Handbook, I've read cover to cover I've written in, I've taken, that's why I don't get rid of my books, because I have notes in there, because again, my memory ain't what it used to be. So sometimes when I have to read it all over again, it's like reading it for the first time. And what I've done is I write little notes in there, or I highlight different parts in there with certain things that'll kind of jog my memory. But yeah, I've read pretty much every book that I have cover to cover. So I'll do one or two full reads, and then I'll go back, because I know, for example, if there's certain parts that I was working on, I'll go, oh crap, I do remember it's in this book, right? And then I'll go reference that book. For example, like I'm doing stuff with application security, so I reference a lot of my Appsec books. So I reference Alice and Bob Learn Application Security from Tanya Janka. I'll reference the Web Application Hacker Handbook. I still use that book to this day. So I reference a lot of books, but like I said, I try to make sure the first read through is a full read through. And for me, a read through is reading and doing all the lab exercises. So building out that lab environment, or going wherever they tell me to go to make it happen. All right, so Kali Linux. Kali Linux is a little easy when dealing with VirtualBox. We're just gonna go here and double click here, and it kind of automatically auto populates everything. Hands-on hacking. The labs are hard to get if out of date. Yeah, but you can find there's still I think that if they still have the repos available, you can still find them. But yeah, like I said, the hands-on hacking. I believe that's the book I think that's the one I haven't finished. Is that the one that was written by what's the lady in the UK? I think that's the book I'm referring to. All right, so but like I said, so Kali Linux, like I said, you saw that we just double clicked the VirtualBox machine definition, and it populated in here. Okay, and now what we want to do is kind of go through the same process. So if we want to upgrade the RAM, right? Like I said, I usually run 4 gigs of RAM. The boot order, that's fine. Display, we don't really care about that. Video memory, that's fine. Don't really care too much about all of that. Let's see, general stuff. Display, storage. It has that set up there. And this is the latest version of Kali Linux. So this is 24.4. So Kali Linux 2025 has not come out yet, by the way. Right? If I want to set up any shared folders, so if I want to move stuff between my my PC and then my virtual machine, right? So processor, same thing. I'll just run 2 processors by default. That's comes default. So there isn't too much in there that I necessarily need to run, except for just upping the RAM. And then we'll just go ahead and hit start. And now the reason, remember when we did when we installed the supplemental files, reason being is Kali Linux sometimes does not play nice if those files aren't uploaded into VirtualBox, right? So if that extension pack isn't installed, sometimes when you try to install Kali Linux, it does not like it. All right, so Kali comes out the box with a username and password of Kali and Kali. I know, so secure. But this is why they tell you to make sure you change your passwords and all of that. So we're going to do the same thing in Kali Linux that we did in Ubuntu. First, we're going to open up our terminal. We're going to move this over here. And we're going to type in sudo app-y, same command. update and in sudo app-y upgrade. It's going to ask us for the password. Our password is a super password of Cali. It's going to go through the process. Georgia Weidman's book, or the one from UK, hands-on. So Georgia Weidman's book is penetration testing. Georgia Weidman's book is penetration testing. I think hands-on hacking was written by Jenna Crury. Here, let me see. I'll let you know what book I'm talking about. All right, so while this is running updates, I'm just going to stop sharing just so you can see the book I'm talking about. So this is the book I'm talking about. Hands-on hacking. Yep, Jennifer Crury. If you look up the authors, like I said, she's a cybersecurity professional, and I know she was also embroiled in a controversy in the UK. I ain't putting nobody business out there, but yeah. But like I said, but it's definitely a good book. So that's the one I didn't finish. So that's the book that I'm talking about. All right, so while this is up, so that's still updating. Like I said, now this one's going to probably take a little while because, again, there's a lot. So the other difference that you'll see is the reason why I like Ubuntu over Kali Linux is because, again, if it's lightweight, doesn't mean there's a lot of stuff involved, a lot of stuff installed, which means that it won't take a long time to update or upgrade. Whereas with Kali, again, your repository has over 600 tools in there. So it's going to have to update all of that. And then it's going to uninstall and reinstall all of the other tools. So it's going to take a little bit. But we can do a couple other things. So like I said, we will just go ahead and, while we're waiting, we'll open up another box, and then we'll just, again, cd into the Etsy SSH folder. Same thing here. You'll see we have our SSH keys. So we're going to go ahead and hit sudo. We're going to make a directory called old keys. And it's going to ask us for a password. We're going to type that right there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sudo move SSH host wildcard into old keys. And now that you'll see that all that is gone. And now, again, this already has Open SSH server installed, so we don't have to go ahead and install that. So we're going to hit the package. No, actually, we need to run sudo first. So sudo the package reconfigure Open SSH server. Okay, and now when we hit ls, you'll see we have new keys. So now we do MD5 sum. Oops, no, stop. So now if we do MD5 sum of the SSH host wildcard, it's going to give us permission denied because we didn't do sudo. So let's come back here and say sudo, and now you see it gives us that information. So now, and then if we do same thing, old keys, and now again we can compare and contrast. So looking at the ECDSA key for the old keys, it ends at 689. This one is 0022. Same thing here, BFDA. Okay, so you can see all the keys are different. So now that we know that that's good to go, we can go ahead and we can clear, and then we'll hit rm-rf, and we're going to go ahead and remove old keys. But before we do that, we have to remember that that is an elevated command, so we have to hit sudo, and now when we check, old keys is gone. Okay, so now we have that done. Now, we talked about Kali Linux coming with a default password of Kali and Kali, right? What if we wanted to go ahead and create a new user? Right? So if we wanted to create a new user, we could do, we're back to our, let's here. Let's go ahead and clear our screen. And now we're going to go sudo add user, and let's just say we want to create a user named D Jackson. Okay. And now we're going to hit enter, and it's going to ask us for a new password. Now you can't see the password that you typed in because it's a secret, right? And then it's going to say, what do you want to change any user information? You just hit enter, enter, enter. You don't really have to add all of that, and just hit yes. And now D Jackson has been added to the group users. So now if I want to substitute user, now let's say I want to switch to D Jackson. It's going to ask me for my password. I am now, you can look, I am now the D Jackson user. Okay, now if we hit exit, we're back to the Kali user. In comparison to his teammates, he's head and shoulders. Now, what if we wanted to add what if we wanted to add D Jackson as a super user, which means that user should be able to run sudo commands. When you're testing web app, yes, Ty. Yep, short answer, yes. You definitely can run nmap. Because again, you're still looking, a web app is connected to a server, so you're still going to check for ports and stuff like that as well. All right, so what did I say? Where was I? Oh yeah, if I wanted to add D Jackson as a user, we're going to type in sudo, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use user mod for modify user -a -g, which means we're going to make we're going to add a user to the group. So -a is add, -g is group, and we're going to say the group is sudo, and then we're going to type in the user D Jackson. Okay. So what we just did was, like I said, we said we're modifying the user and we're adding him to a group.
See, I was winning against SSG in scrims. Maybe that's the more important matchup, bro. Like, I don't know.
All right. So now, not that I would be able to do that right now because we're already running updates. But now D Jackson will be able to run elevated commands. Okay. As you can see, it's at 34%. So we're not going to get to. We're probably not going to get to seeing the whole thing install or update. But after that's done, we would then shut down Kali Linux. Once everything is updated, upgraded, we have our users, we have our SSH keys. So now that's our base image. So then we would go ahead and clone that image. Again, that's my preference. You can do your own thing, but for me, I always try to make sure I install whatever I need to install as a base image, and then I'll create a second image once I once I figure out what I'm doing and what tools I want to run. So I'll always have two images, right? So I'll have the image of the one with all my tools, and then I'll have the one basically like my day one image. And then what will happen is now I don't have to always go back and reinstall a virtual machine and do all of that. So, how you doing?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
How can I help you? Yeah, you're fine.
Is this a school or a computer shop?
No, this is a center. It's a technology and gaming center.
Oh.
So yeah.
So the guy that was here, he moved out.
No. The computer repair shop's next door. No problem.
Okay. Thank you. Are you new here?
Yeah, I've been here a little over a year now.
Oh, okay. And I usually don't come here this time.
Oh, all right. Have a good night. Yep. You can run the password command on Kali as well. If you just wanted to change the Kali password. I was just going through the process of creating a brand new user. But yeah, if you wanted to change the password on Kali, yeah, you could just do this. So you go sudo password, and then you would just type in your new password. Right? If you wanted, yeah. So if you wanted to change the password, I just show to create the user.
You gotta do what's natural, right? I think like basically.
All right, so I guess while we're waiting, I mean, we kind of did most of the stuff that we wanted to do with getting the basic stuff set up. So I guess we could technically look at a couple levels of Over the Wire if we got time. Right? I mean, how are we on time? We're a little over 2 hours. We still got about 10 people watching. Shout out to y'all for bearing through this with me with, the voice kind of scratchy and stuff like that. Definitely shout out to y'all.
This whole Halo thing is a front, bro. This is a dating check. I'm trying to figure it out too. We're gonna learn together.
I'm debating.
What's new and what happened? So Optic in phase is scrimming. It's currently 8-1. SSG and complexity are also.
All right, so you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and.
That's basically all you need to know about Spruce.
Let's do that, because I mean, like I said, we're at 61%, and I gotta wait till it's done. So let's go to Over the Wire. So just to show you what, for those who don't know what Over the Wire Bandit is. So Over the Wire Bandit is basically just a game that's for absolute beginners to understand the basics of Linux, as well as how to SSH into machines. So every level, you have to SSH into that machine and get the information that will allow you to SSH into the next level. And that's usually something like a password or something like that. So I appreciate it, Canby. So I said, as you can see, Over the Wire has 35 levels, because 0 does count as a level. And again, when we're talking about Linux stuff, 0 usually counts as a number. So there's 35 levels. And every level, like I said, there's a little bit more that you have to do in order to gain access to the next one. And again, there's several other games. There's I never could pronounce it right, but I call it Natus. But this goes over web security. I mean, we could probably even do this one too, since we're talking about application stuff. But this one, there is no SSH.
the mouse hits the center.
So here you have to access them via the URLs. Like I said, there's a bunch. There's Natus, there's Leviathan. I don't think I've ever done Leviathan. Yeah, I've definitely never done Leviathan. Have I done Krypton? No. But these are, like I said, these are all cool. So like I said, you have Bandit, which is Linux and SSH, Natus, which is web security. Leviathan, I'm not sure what Leviathan is a game that's been recused from the demise intruded previously. Resurrecting the game. Yeah, I don't know what Leviathan is. Krypton, I know is encryption. Narnia, I've done a couple things with Narnia before. It was a long time ago. I've never done Behemoth. Yeah, so I've never done. Basically, I've kind of never gotten down to the second half of these.
60% of this game so far, I feel like it's been spent.
All right, so so I said so Bandit. So basically, the goal of this is you log into every game using SSH. The host which you need to connect to is Bandit Labs over the wire on port 2220. The username is Bandit0 and the password is Bandit0. Once logged in, go to level 1 and find out how to beat level 1. Okay? So, in order to do that, again, all you're doing is SSHing into the server. So what we need to do is I'm just going to do sudo SSH. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sharing this anymore. Y'all are still looking at this screen. So we're going to replace our sharing screen with this one. And let's. Oh, I can't. It's not going to let me do that until it reboots the first time. So it's going to look small.
Yeah, I agree. On Aquarius, it's open, but it's not too open, right?
All right. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and just we're going to knock the first couple stages out the way. So we're going to SSH, and the username was Bandit0 at Bandit dot labs dot over the wire. Every time I hear over the wire, I think of Kanye's Through the Wire, but that was before Kanye started losing his damn mind. All right, so we have SSH Bandit0 at Bandit dot. Oof, see, I'm glad I didn't. Labs.overthewire.org on port 2220. We'll go ahead and hit enter. It's going to say, do you want to continue connecting? We're going to hit yes. And now it's going to ask us for the password. BANG. And now we are in there. So we're here. Now we're in the Bandit system. We just hit LS, and then we can cat the README file. And remember, cat stands for concatenation, or essentially just reading. Then it says, congratulations on your first steps into the Bandit game. Please make sure you have read the rules, which we did. If you are following a course, workshop, walkthrough, or other educational activity, please inform the instructor about the rules as well, and encourage them to contribute to the Over the Wire community so we can keep the games free. Then it says the password you're looking for is this one right here, which we will go ahead and copy because again, as we progress through Over the Wire, we're going to need the password. Holy crap. Are y'all? Can y'all see?
The raw slaying power out of this team.
I don't know what happened.
You know, it's like two opponents.
There it goes. Okay. Sorry, I don't know if y'all saw that, but basically all I did was SSH into the machine. When I looked back here at Restream, it was blank. So what I did was I SSH into the machine using the okay. All right, cool, Canvy. I SSH using the Bandit 0 at bandit.labs.overthewire.org, and I typed in the password of Bandit 0, and now then there was a file. We used the cat command for concatenation to read it, and it gave us this information saying make sure we check the rules, and then it says the password that we're looking for is this password, which we went ahead and copied. So now we can move on to level 1. So now all we have to do that is we can hit exit, and now we're back to our Kali machine. And now we want to go ahead and essentially just do the same thing, right? SSH Bandit 0. Oh wait, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. It's not Bandit 0. So now we want to go here, and instead of Bandit 0, it's Bandit 1. And then when it asks us for the password, we're going to paste what we had originally. And as you can see, we are now into our next machine. So now we can, I don't know if it'll let us, yep, we can clear that. And then you see there is a dash. So now can we cat dash? I don't think we can do that. So in order to do that, so remember what we did before. Oops. Let's do that. Let's get out of there. So now we're in Bandit 1. And like I said, you see when we went the cat, it didn't return anything. So that means that that dash might not be it may not be a file, and it might be an executable, right? So now let's see, instead of that, let's do / and then the dash, and then as you can see, it says permission is denied. Why is the permission denied? So let's do sudo. Let's be on. No. Let's see you working out for Conrad. I heard Optic got a slow start right now. It's been a while since I did this one. Read, write, read, Bandit 2. It was created by Bandit 1. And I am Bandit 1. So Bandit 1 should be able to read and write to it. So if Bandit 1 can read and write to it, for the tournaments, that would be cool. If they go to the HQ for the online tournaments, that'd be pretty cool. Cat with the, you said the wild card? Shots like lost in after Legend Boom, which makes you think that, like, I think he's like Stop it.
But I think his timings and his play style confused him. I think what happened, right? He beat shots.
I did run cat.
He doesn't play like a typical cut.
Did I? Oh, wait. I'm sorry. My bad. Oh man, I feel like the Twix, not Twix, the Snickers commercial. So I tried cat with just this, and then that didn't work. And then I tried to run it as an executable, and then that. I'm sorry. I tried to run it as an executable, and then it told me permission denied. And then I tried to do sudo, and that didn't work. Forgot it was supposed to be cat, and then run it. So I was I had to write to it. So anyway, so it was cat and then this file. And as you can see, we get the password, so we copy it, and now we can exit out. Thanks for the hint, Camby. All right, so now, again, we would just go to Bandit 2. And then it's going to ask for the password, and we're going to paste what we copied from Bandit 1, and it's going to be basically the same process. So now we're in so now we're here in, well, essentially this is level, it says level 2, but level 3. And now when we hit LS, you're going to see it says spaces in this file name. So the thing with Linux, yeah, no, I said it was weird, but yeah, I don't know. So now now we're in a situation where it says spaces, and it's actually, and when I'm looking over, oh, Kali Linux finished updating. So here you see spaces in this file name. So if you try to cat this file, right, and you do cat spaces in this file name, you see is looking at it like they're separate. Actually, I take that back. I'm giving the wrong lesson here. So in previous versions of Linux, if you did spaces in this file, if you did it like spaces in this file name, and you tried to type in cat, like, let's just do it, spaces, let's just type it out in this file name, it's not going to work. And the reason why is because if you look, it looks like it thinks you're asking it to concatenate or read separate files. So it's looking for spaces. It's looking for a file named spaces or a directory named spaces. It's looking for a file or directory name in a file or directory names this or file name. So it thinks you're looking for 4 different directories or 4 different files. So what you would have to do before would be you would have to put it in quotation marks. Right? So that you're telling Linux that this is all one file. Right? So what happened afterwards is when Kali got updated years later, it looked at the file, it looked at it and it said, okay, this is all supposed to be one file or one directory. So how can we fix that? So now when you hit the tab for autocomplete, you'll see it has spaces, and then it gives you the slashes in here, which is essentially doing the same thing as putting it in quotation marks. And when you do, like I said, it looks at it and it recognizes it similar to like it recognizes the quotation marks, saying, oh, okay, so this is all one file. It's not 4 separate files like up here. This is all one file, and the file name just has spaces in it. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and copy this, and we'll hit exit, We'll clear our screen, and now we'll go to Bandit 3, which is like level 4. So we'll do this one, and then we'll do one more, and then we'll call it a night. Okay. So we'll go ahead and paste selection. So again, now we're here. We're in Bandit 3 or level 4 if you count level 0 as a level. We'll hit LS, and then you can see there is a file. There's a folder called in here. Let me just make sure that you can still see everything I got going on my screen. Yep. So now, when you want to go, in here, you would type in CD in here, right? And now let's hit LS. Now, if you look, you hit LS and there's nothing in there. Now, if you remember, when we were doing Linux fundamentals, just because you click the folder, you hit LS to list the contents of the folder, and it came back that it was blank, doesn't always necessarily mean that, right? So remember, in Windows has the option where you can right click and hit view hidden folder, hidden folders, right? And it'll show you different folders depending on where you are. Linux has something similar, right? So you can do ls-a or ls- like is it AH or something like that. And here you see a file called hiding from you, right? So again, we'll just do ls-a. You see there's a file called hiding from you.
It's not a Formal's wheelhouse, bro. He hits his shots. I agree. Yeah, if you're gonna funnel anywhere, you gotta get this map is still kind of new. You gotta kind of know the situations where you can jump toss fly.
So if we needed to do that, we can do cat, and then.
Yeah, I know possible. Shots is West But in Halo, that playstyle was the best because in Halo, he has shields that allows him to do it. You know? It probably works too. Don't get me wrong.
Sorry about that. So, so you see here, there's a folder. You see there's dot, and then dot hiding from you. So, and I wasn't paying attention, and I just did dot hiding from you because again, it said it was hidden. Usually for hidden folders or hidden files, it's usually a dot. But here, like I said, you see the 3 dots, so you just do exactly what it said. So we did, so we cat the folder, or we cat the file, and we got our password. So again, we just copy our section, and now we can get out of there. We can exit. And now same thing, Bandit 4. And we'll hit enter, and then it's going to ask for the password, and then we just paste our selection, and now we are in the last one that, like I said, we'll do for today. Okay.
That's 10-1, bro. I was wrong. My prediction was wrong.
So here we're going to go ahead and we're going to type in ls again, just to kind of list the contents. You see, we just to be on the safe side, we'll hit lsa. So you see there's nothing else here except for that in here folder, right? That's the interesting one. So then we'll cd in here, and then we'll hit ls. You see there's a bunch of files. But then if we do ls-a just to make sure, you'll see again there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 files. Okay. Now, we could go ahead and cat each file. But if we were to do that, it would take a while, and it wouldn't be as efficient, right? And I think for the purpose of trying to remember, for the purpose of this, it's about learning the command, right? So if we needed to do that, we can just use, we could try to figure out what the command is, or what the file type is, right? And we do that with the tool file. Remember, if we remember in Linux, the Linux fundamentals course, if we wanted to find out what the type of file we're dealing with, we just type in file. Oh, come on.
Like they were dominant. They like didn't win games in that one period that they had around Worlds. Like 4 tournaments back to back, it was just like we're talking.
Let me see something. Oh no, right. That's right. I would have to do cat. We'd have to do the same thing in from level 2, right? So cat file 00, right? If we wanted to do that, right? Okay. So because we would have to do that, we'd have to do file 00. Okay. All right. So Camby, I think this is where the wild card it should work. If my memory serves me correct, if we do file wildcard, as you can see, all the it gives us all the information. So all these other files are data files, but file 07 is an ASCII text file. Now, like I said, we could have did file, file 01 and kept doing all of that until we got to 7, right? But as you can see, it takes a lot longer, right? As you can see, it takes a lot longer than just doing what we did with the file command, right? So we did file and then wildcard. So now it gave us all the information right there at our fingertips. And now we can do cat file 07, and there is our password. All right, so again, we have that. We can copy it. We can exit out. We'll clear it. And then if we wanted to, we can go to Bandit 5, but we're going to call it here because we are now at 2.5 hours. I am going to close up shop in a little bit, grab me something to eat, take a break, and move on to the class I got later on tonight. I may be back on tomorrow. So actually, let me just stop sharing. I think I should be back on tomorrow. I don't have any events scheduled, so I'm going to try to use that as a way to kind of, get ahead. So when we get into March, starting next week, there'll be 2 weeks out of the month where I won't be able to stream on Tuesdays because we have a youth group that comes in and we do our gaming and mentorship programs with them, and then the next 2 weeks I should. So right now I'm trying to see what the schedule is going to be. It might be every other Tuesday, or it might be consecutive like we just did the last couple Tuesdays. But we'll definitely be on Monday. So geez, I'm thinking today's Tuesday. So I'll definitely be on tomorrow. I should be on tomorrow. And we'll try to get through more. We'll try to get through more of Over the Wire. Honestly, let's see if we could probably wrap it up. And then we'll jump into Windows fundamentals next time, next Monday, the next time we're on, if we get through the rest of Over the Wire. All right. But I thank y'all for tuning in and sitting with me as I went through this. I know it could be boring for some, but I appreciate y'all rocking out with me. So Camby, Eric, Ty, let's see who else is. I don't know who else is on here that has commented, but I appreciate all of you for the time, the comments, and keeping me company. If you haven't done so already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it out with your peers and your friends, or your friend, tell a friend to tell a friend. There's also other things you can do. You can support the stream by scanning this QR code and buying me a coffee. It starts as low as $5. You could also do super chats if you're watching on YouTube. Those aren't mandatory. Those aren't requested. They are appreciated, but I'll be honest with you, if you can just go ahead and get this out so we can get the algorithm jumping, I think I'd appreciate that more than the money, again, because we're trying to build a whole community, not just with the cybersecurity and stuff, but with the STEM things that we have coming down the line, with the gaming stuff that we have. And again, is really kind of giving these kids an outlet to be seen and to do what they love, and get positive feedback from this community. So go ahead and do that for me, please. I appreciate it. If you want to do anything else, that would also be greatly appreciated. But please just don't leave here without liking and following. And also follow us on all of our platforms. So we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok for the time being, we're on X, and then we also have our website, so you can follow us and follow up, keep up with us there. I promise I'm going to start creating a regular schedule for our streaming as soon as I come up with a regular schedule. Again, juggling 2-3 jobs and life kind of can be challenging. But again, like I said, I'm rambling on and on and on, but I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready for this 7 o'clock class I got. So y'all be safe, and I will see y'all tomorrow night. All right, peace out, take care, be safe.